something, the T.R.O.N Podcast. Thank you very much for your time and tuning in. Today I have a very special guest, an entrepreneur of one of the very large successful company and is on the cutting edge of automation, business systems, and to make your business more efficient. He's the CEO of Regpack, Assaf Darash. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
This is a big pleasure. You know, I got a chance to look up your credentials and your background. I was very, very impressed by your achievements. You're a serial entrepreneur and you run a very successful company serving customers worldwide. Can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I started Regpack about, I would say, like 14 years ago, I think. It's been bootstrapped the whole time. Before that, I had two other companies that I had a successful exit on. I have a PhD in computer science. I am a Fulbright scholar. I did my PhD at Berkeley and my postdoc at Berkeley. That's about it. The thing that I like the most is coding and computer languages. At the time when I was writing my PhD, a long time ago, I think it was like 16 or 17 years ago, my main advisor was from the AI lab in MIT. AI is like everybody think it's brand new. It's been here for at least 45 years. We've been computer scientists have been working on it. It's just become accessible now, I would say. Absolutely. In a way. That's it. I think my biggest passion is technology, I would say.
Yeah. Well, people got to understand too that, AI was around, your spell check was AI, right? So that's just, people forget when you got words that were spell checked, that's artificial intelligence. Now, Regpack, I was looking it up. It's a great company, streamlines registration processes, has automated payment systems, and you really are basically cutting out ways to make things more efficient. And you have 25 million users worldwide. So what made you begin to start thinking of that particular company that you wanted to go into that endeavor 14 years ago?
Okay, so this is actually a really nice story. When I was writing my PhD, I had a research question. Can you build a system that has no constants in them? Most computerized systems have some kind of constants in them. There's some kind of constraint, okay? And in addition to that question, one of the biggest problems in computer science is, can you build the meta-programming system, which means that it's a system that you can program without any programming language needed, right? When I was talking to my advisor, I was talking mainly about the system with no constants, everything a variable, and I remember that he dismissed it like he was like, no, you can't build that. I was like, what? Roger, of course I can. He's like, no, you can't. I was like, okay, watch me. Now I'm going to build it.
For sure. And that's all you needed to hear.
That's basically what you need to hear. By the way, it took 3 years to build it, but I built it. So I built a prototype of a system that has no constants in it. Everything's a variable. Everything can mold. A good way to think about it for someone who's not versed in computer science is that I build a box full of Lego bricks. And now you can build anything you want. You can build a spaceship, or you can build a house, or you can build a car. Okay, right. It's really based on how the computer functions in the very essence of the computer. The computer is always called the do-all machine, right? And the concept of the computer is that it can really morph to be anything. Right? Think your phone. Your phone is basically a computer. Nearly anything that you touch today is a computer, but it can do anything because you can just. There's a nice saying that with computers, the only thing that needs to be consistent is that it is consistent.
Right.
Once you build something consistent, it's fine. It can be the craziest thing in the world. As long as it's consistent, it works. Right. So I built that thing. I was very proud of myself. I wrote a paper about it, so forth. And from my perspective, I really thought that I'm going to be in the academia. I really saw my future as a professor teaching students how to build stuff with computers, right? Life, has its own plans a lot of times. My wife at the time was also finishing her PhD, and she actually, we were talking about it, and I told her the computer science, the academia of computer science in the US is amazing, and this is the place that I want to be. And she was like, but I don't want to live in the US.
Right.
And that sort of changed everything. I was like, okay, so if we're not going to live in the US, then I'm not going to be a professor. I don't want to do that. So since I already was an entrepreneur before, I built companies and I sold them and so forth, I was like, okay, I have this thing that I built. Let's see what I can do with it. That was basically the premise, right? At the time, I also worked at the administration office at Berkeley. And I looked at how things work. And I was like, after a lot of research and I'm making it, it's really a shortcut what I'm doing now. I suddenly noticed that there's a big difference between service-based businesses and between any type of product-based business. A service-based business is a university, camp, is a doctor's office, is insurance, like basically any service-based. And a product-based is like, I don't know, buying a shirt.
Correct.
Okay, now let's talk about the basics. In order to onboard as a client, when you buy a shirt, the whole onboarding process is paying for the shirt. That's it. That's it. You don't need to give your name. Nobody cares who you are, what, nothing. Oh, you want to buy this shirt? Please give me $100. It's your shirt. Bye. We're done.
Yep.
Okay.
Transaction based.
With services, it's completely different. There's always an onboarding process because they need to know who you are and what service you want, who is going to give you the service, and when you're going to get the service and where you're going to get the service. There's so many factors that go into that. And because of that constraint, I noticed that in the market, everything that's connected to computers and software and services is extremely fragmented to the point that it's ridiculous. I have no other way of saying it. It's ridiculous. Think of it like this. Think that you would have different softwares to sell pens and to sell shirts and to sell computers and to sell. That's basically what's happening. You're doing like, oh my, but that's basically the current state of software with service-based businesses. There's different software for events and different software for schools and different software for courses and different software for day camps and for night camps. And it's like, oh my God.
That's amazing. Now, I never really thought about that. Wow.
And the reason for that is because the onboarding process is unique for every single vertical and more so for every single company. But most companies agree to do the onboarding process that the software can do because they're like, okay, I don't have a choice.
Right.
Now, when you suddenly have a system that has no constants in it and everything's a variable, this looks like child play, right? So basically, I understood this thing built correctly can turn to be the Shopify for services.
Unbelievable.
Okay? Because you can consolidate the whole market, the whole service market, even though that's like a huge thing to say, like 80% of the economy is service-based, right? But let's say not the whole, like you can consolidate the education-based activity market, okay?
Correct.
Which is just so you understand, this is a market of $258 billion in the US alone.
My goodness.
Okay? So you can consolidate that whole market with one software instead of having hundreds of softwares that are doing it. Okay. And the base of it is technology. The base of it is not like a smart idea or like, a business concept. It's the fact that you can create a system that has no constants in it.
Right.
So basically I understood this whole thing and I was like, wow, this is amazing. Yeah. I think this is the company. Like the previous two companies were basically like, a programming hack. I did it. I built something cute. I sold it very quickly. It was like, easy money. Here I was like, okay, this is the company. This is it. And we started building it out. And the biggest hurdle that we hit, it was like hitting a wall. Okay. Is the fact that nobody believed you. And I'll give a good example for the mindset. Okay. If I will take you to a restaurant that is serving sushi, steak, pasta, and I don't know, sushi, steak. You're like, okay, this restaurant sucks, right? They can't do anything good.
Yeah, right.
That's basically what you're thinking. Like, no, I'm not eating here. Exactly. Probably all the food is terrible. Okay.
Exactly.
And that was the wall that we were hitting. We were talking to people, and we were like, "Yeah, we can do this and this," and they're like, "Oh, no, this sucks. No, I need a cookie cutter solution for my specific situation." It's like, and then the questions were like, have you ever done like a day camp? Have you ever done an event in Louisiana in March? It's like, what? Why is that important? It's like, but yeah, that was where the questions. It's like, okay, and then so this was like a major. This was a major wall. It's like, it was like, I didn't understand. I didn't understand how to explain it even.
Right.
Like why this is, I don't know if you've ever experienced this sometimes with, it normally happens with math professors where you ask them a question and they're like, I really don't understand what you don't understand. Like, I can't
Oh
explain
my
it.
gosh, man. That's like the worst answer in the history of answers, man. Like, come on, dude. I'm telling you, I don't get it. And then it becomes a back and forth of like,
Yeah,
they're
but frankly, they really don't. They really don't
right.
understand. They really don't understand what you don't
Real
understand.
talk.
So that was basically what that the wall that we were hitting after we built the initial software and so forth. And then one of my one of my co-founders, they're like, okay, he's a great friend from Berkeley. He played football. Great, dude. He's like 2 meters. He's huge. I never let him stand too close to me. I'm like, Calvin, step back.
That's awesome.
No, it's like twice my size. It's like, it's crazy.
Jeez.
Anyway, he's super smart. And he was like, you need to talk to them like they're children. I was like, what does that mean? Like, how do I do that? He's like, tell every vertical that it's built only for their vertical. Hide all the other verticals. Don't tell them that you can do anything else. You can only, it was like basically like taking your biggest advantage and hiding it.
Right.
It's
like in boxing. If you know somebody, you got to power.
It's like telling someone you have a sports car, but never go above 10 miles an hour. That's basically okay. So we were like, okay, let's try that. And suddenly it started working. People got it. It was great. And we figured out that after they get the first system that's working and functional and so forth, only then tell them, hey, you can also do this and this and this. And then you would see their eyes open up and be like, wow, really?
Oh, man. Yeah.
Okay, so I actually have these needs. So, and then we're like, wait a second, so I don't need these other softwares? No, you don't. You can use the same software. And that, by the way, that's the way that we do it until today. We never tell people that it can be used for multiple things in their organization. We start with one, and only after they onboard, we show them the others.
That's beautiful. That's wonderful. Because it doesn't overwhelm them, and it tailor makes it to their needs specifically on what they're looking to accomplish with you for their particular service.
Exactly.
That's really interesting because, here you are trying to say, listen, I worked on this for years. This can do this, this can do this, it can do this. And then people are just like, it gets diluted. Your message can almost get diluted to, so to speak, right? To them. To you, it's weird because it's like eating your own food, right? Like, yeah, this tastes great because I put all these ingredients in it, but it's like, I just wanted what for me. Now you start giving the side dishes. Hey, you like that main course. Now, did you want to try this instead? You're like, damn, that really complements that as well, too. So that's a smart idea from your business partner. That's very fascinating. I went to the website and it's amazing what it does. It streamlines organizations for businesses, local events, charities. Like, how did it grow so quickly? Because I say that respectfully because it's years in the making. But then when I saw you had 25 million users worldwide, that is insane. That's crazy.
How
did word of mouth
basically, by the way, it's not 25 million organizations. It's 25 million registrants that these organizations register, right? So basically what happened with Regpack is that once we managed to understand what is the ideal client for us and the type of client that the system solves their problem, we grew very, very quickly. It started off where, every company starts off where they're selling for the lower part of the market, like the smaller businesses and so forth. And it took us time to understand that there's not enough pain in that section of the market for people to understand the advantages that the system is creating for them. Then we needed to go higher into the market, basically to the middle market and the high level of the market. And once we did that, suddenly the advantages of the system were so obvious to the organizations that were using it, that one of the things that happened automatically is that one person would start in the organization using the software and it would start propagating within the organization. And other departments would start using it for other programs, for other situations. A great example is when we onboard a school. Normally, they come either for the after school, or they come for one of the events, or they come for the sometimes for the camp that they're running, or sometimes for field trips that they want to have the parents register. Sometimes they have, and it's really diverse. Every school comes in for a different reason. We had a school come in last week because they have a special trip that they're sending all the students to New York, and the parents need to pay something, and blah 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 blah, and they just wanted to outsource the whole process so that the parents would give all the information and all that, and they send it out to the trip organizer and so forth.
Right.
And so normally they come in for one thing, and then they're like, and we don't limit them. Like you can use the software as much as you want. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, they come in, let's say they come in for the after school and they use it, let's say for 4 or 6 months, they understand how it works and all that. And then it's always like, we never push them to start using it for other things. We just recommend. And then normally you have a champion where they're like, hey, by the way, we have now an educational tour that we're doing. Would Regpack work for that? Yes. And they try that. And then they try another thing. And then they try another thing. And then after like a year, basically the whole school is running.
That's wonderful. It's amazing. Right. And then,
so it really, it sort of like upsells itself.
Right.
Now, from our business model is that we make money off packages like seats, right? And from the payment processing. So basically, it's like the client upsells themselves into a higher tier of usage.
Well, the great part about it is that obviously with the way things are automating and being more digital, and most people, particularly now, don't necessarily quote unquote carry the cash or the check on them when it comes to online payment. If a school, for example, no parent wants to be going up there, handing the envelope off, dropping it in the office. I mean, it's a pain in the butt, man. Like, show me the link, right? And then everything else takes care of itself. You get the email, your kid is more tech savvy than the parent thinks that they are, gets their little digital code, they're registered, and fairly well, have a nice trip. And you're making life easier for those people, right? And that is amazing. What briefly, obviously schools are successful. Do you find that particular segment of business, your most advantage?
The segment that works best for us is education and tourism, courses, and schools. Yes. We also implemented something very interesting that I want to discuss. And again, this is connected to the ability to see the market in a more analytical way. Okay. Again, service-based businesses have, like we just talked, they always have a problem with space and time, right? Like when and where are you going to get the service? Okay?
Exactly.
Now, most of the services that are connected to children, to education and so forth. Do you have kids?
Yes, $3.
Yes. So you know this. They're always very expensive, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
All too well.
And I came from a European culture where everything can be paid in installments. Everything. You can buy a $30 shirt in installments. It just works like that. It's like they ask you at the store, like, how many installments? Always.
That's nuts.
It's like basic. It's like the most basic thing. And I remember this conversation. I was talking to one of I think it was I remember the organization. They were selling courses for software, right? And a course cost $2,000. It was like a 4 or 5 months course, $2,000. By the way, very good course. And I was talking to the guy. And I was like, hey, I see that you have a lot of abandoned carts. Like you have. The system also helps with abandoned carts and all that. I see that you have a lot of abandoned carts. Like what's up? And he's like, yeah, then the ticket item is really, really expensive and it's a barrier to entry. And I was like, in the most naive way, I was like, why didn't you let them pay in installments? And he was like, how the hell am I supposed to do that?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. And he was like, no, I need a system to allow me to pay in installments. And also I need to charge them the interest and so forth. And I was like, okay, you know what? Let me get back to you. Let me think about this.
Yeah.
And suddenly I understood, okay, there's a huge opportunity here. One, to build in installments into the system.
Beautiful.
But more so, like the whole buy now, pay later is a huge market, right?
Correct.
But you don't need to do the whole hoops in the air that buy now, pay later do. What does buy now, pay later do? It allows you, let's say, to buy a business chair, okay? A task chair. It allows you to buy it now and pay in installments for 6 months. What is happening underneath? They're basically giving you a loan. Exactly. So they're checking your credit score. They are taking the risk on themselves. They need to do funding. They're basically acting like a bank. Okay. Right. And that's why these companies are always backed by huge financial institutions. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you that Regpack does the installments without any financial institution backing us. How do we do that? Okay. How do we do that? Because what happens here is that there's always a lag between the moment that you register or ask for the service and when you're getting the service. Okay. Between 4 to 6 months, nearly always. Okay. Now, the organization needs to pay some things as they go along through over those 6 months. So if you implement a system that is just-in-time financing, okay, for the organization, implement AI algorithms that allow you to understand what's the just-in-time financing that they need versus the time that you can give the person to pay, you can create a situation, and that's exactly what we did, where you allow installments that is totally a win-win situation. Nobody's paying interest and nobody's losing anything because you're lowering the barrier to entry. Now, let's say go back to this course of $2,000 to learn Python. Okay. I'm registering now. I'm starting only in September. Okay. I can't pay $2,000 right now, but I can totally pay $250 every month.
Correct.
Okay. And if you allow me to pay $250 every month, I'll register right now.
Yep.
From your perspective, you need to spend less money on marketing. You're taking, from the organization perspective, they're taking zero risk because it's just-in-time financing.
Yes.
So by the time that they need to pay out the teachers, the classes, etc., they have the money.
Exactly.
From the student perspective, they're not paying any interest because they're not like delaying their payments.
Correct.
So it's a total win-win situation. And the result of that is that organizations that implement it in Regpack grow their revenue by 30%.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And all that is based on just using technology in the correct way and understanding the landscape of the market.
So you're always looking for the inner workings of either the solution. So you're always forward thinking on the solution. And that's very important because now when you see about that increased revenue, to your point, it's a win-win for your software. It's a win-win for the organization. It's beautiful. That is stunning, and I think that also, just briefly, that you've also identified how human behavior operates and functions as well too, based on your computer science and automation background too.
Wouldn't say that I know. I would say that my ex-wife and my girlfriend would not agree with you.
Oh, I'm very sorry about that. I meant just like buying patterns, not necessarily buying patterns. Yeah, buying patterns. Yeah. Like, hey, I don't know anything about your personal life. I hope you live to be 150. But I meant more like buying patterns.
Buying patterns.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Totally, yeah. The thing is that we work with a lot of the verticals that we work with today is mainly education. Okay. Yeah. And you're working with families that have children, families that work under a budget. So there's always financial constraints. Every family, even the richest families, have financial constraints, right? They need to prioritize things. It's just the level is different, right? So once you understand that and you understand how to lower the barrier of entry for these families, you can really improve the results of the organization. Like, I'll give another example. We have a very, very powerful conditional logic engine where basically the concept is that you can have multiple paths that people could go through the registration process, right? But we want to create a situation where at some point, from the user perspective, they understand that they're only being asked questions that are relevant to them.
Yes.
Okay. And then what happens is they go into sort of the tunnel thinking where it's like, I'm just answering everything that you're telling me. I'm just doing what the system is telling me. Now, a lot of technology is put into this, but the basic concept that sits behind it, or the image that sits behind it, is a parent trying to make dinner for their children while registering one of the kids for a program, and the baby starts crying, but they need to complete this right now without thinking.
Right.
So that is how that's the image that we put in our mind, and we're like, let's build now the software that is able to deal with that situation.
That's amazing. That's amazing. It's because it keeps the process functioning while the person may have different distractions and the things that are going along as well too, because it's tailor-made specifically for them. That's amazing. I always obviously you're extremely successful, and I know your time is very limited. I'm very appreciative of it. For the purpose of this show, because obviously you don't need me to find out where Regpack is. Where can people find Assaf Darash and Regpack and all the success that you are sharing with us?
Sure. So the best place to find anything about Regpack is regpacks.com. Or just Google Regpack and pops up right away. Our LinkedIn is very nice. It has a lot of information and suggestions on how to work on service-based businesses and best practices and so forth. You can also, if you just Google me, Assaf Darash, you'll find a ton of articles that I wrote in Forbes. I participate in panels. I try to share my knowledge as much as I can.
Yeah.
So I think that's the best way. If you want to, also our Instagram is actually very
I
humoristic.
saw
I
that.
like
It's
it.
really active. I loved all the clips I was seeing real quick. The people at the
It's cute.
offices. Yeah, it was really impressive. I was very impressed by
Really
that.
cute. And people that want to reach out to me directly, just reach out to the company, and I'm very accessible within the time constraints, obviously. But I always like to help.
I appreciate that. And people like yourself who are willing to share knowledge and insight of what success is, when people are willing to take risks on themselves and stay with things, is something that this show was built on and was all about. And because of your time, I'm very grateful for it. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the future success of Regpack.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. Assaf Darash on the Randomness of Nothing podcast with Rashad Woods. Thank you for your time, sir. Well, that was awesome, sir. Appreciate your time.